Okay, hello again. Welcome everyone to session number 213, all right, 213 of Kevin Reads A Course in Miracles. Today we are in chapter 27, which is the healing of the dream. And we will focus on section number 6, Roman numeral 6, all right, VI, on page 579 in the text. Okay, the witnesses to sin. Remember, when Jesus talks about sin, he's talking about that idea of separation. The separation was the sin. Whoa, I separated from oneness. I destroyed heaven. I did it. That's the belief in sin. That's the sin you think you committed. Right? And you try to hide that. You dissociate from that thought. Right? And he's going to talk about the witnesses to it. Okay. Those are things that try to prove that you are guilty. Let's begin. The witnesses to sin, paragraph 1. Pain demonstrates the body must be real. It is a loud, obscuring voice whose shrieks would silence what the Holy Spirit says and keep his words from your awareness. Pain compels attention, drawing it away from him and focusing upon itself. Its purpose is the same as pleasure, for they both are means to make the body real. What shares a common purpose is the same. This is the law of purpose, which unites all those who share in it within itself. Pleasure and pain are equally unreal, because their purpose cannot be achieved. Thus are they the means for nothing, for they have a goal without a meaning, and they share the lack of meaning which their purpose has. Alrighty. So these are the witnesses to sin. It says, yeah, you did it. You separated. And we could prove it because look, you're a body. All right. And how does it convince you? How does the ego mind convince you that you're a body? Well, pain and pleasure. Right. All the sensations of the body, pain and pleasure, are very distracting. They would keep you out of your mind, the mind, right, and focused on the body. It doesn't, nobody's saying in the Course of Miracles, oh, don't have any pleasure. It's not like that. And don't pay attention to your pain. It's not real. That's not what it's saying either. Okay? If you're in pain, take care of that pain as best as you can. All right? Take care of that pain as best as you can. All right? And if you are up for a little pleasure, go for it. Don't feel bad about it. Just, as Dr. Wapnick would always say, just in the back of your mind, remember that, that's the ego's purpose, is to prove the body is real. Nobody's trying to ruin any pleasure for you or even ruin your pain if you're into that. We're just saying, just as an observer, become an observer. All right? Don't have any attachment to either one. And you'll help yourself out along the way. All right? But you don't have to deny yourself any pleasure. That's what I'm saying. All right? There's no need to overindulge just to prove a point, but don't feel guilty about having pleasure. takes a long time to shed that guilt, believe me. Although, having been introduced to the Course, it doesn't take all that long. Jesus would even tell you the Course is it's a quicker way of doing things. All right, but I digress. Pain demonstrates the body must be real. All right, and it is. It's loud. It's loud. It's a loud voice who shrieks. All right, these shrieks silence what the Holy Spirit is telling you. The Holy Spirit is giving you the message you never separated from God. Whereas pain is telling you, look at this. You know, look at the state you're in. Right? And it pays attention to your body. Right? Pain compels attention, and it certainly does. It certainly does. Right? It compels attention, drawing it away from Him, the Holy Spirit, and focusing on itself. Right? Its purpose is the same as pleasure. Pleasure does the same thing, only in a much more pleasurable way. It focuses on itself, on the body. All right. So they are both a means to make the body real. That's the point. How could the body not be real? Look how good this feels. Right? That's what it's saying. Right. And once again, Course in Miracles will not deny you what it is that you want or what it is you think you want. Right. Just trying to get you to step back a little and become an observer, to notice the purpose of things. Okay? And even when you know the purpose of things, you could still, have your pleasure. Right? You can have your cake and eat it too, as they say. All right? So, they're both their purposes to make the body real, and what shares a common purpose is the same. All right? Pleasure and pain are equally unreal because their purpose cannot be achieved. So their purpose is to make the body real. So Jesus is saying, but bottom line is, they can't make this real because it's not. It's an illusion. Right? It's very convincing. It's very solid, seemingly solid illusion. And once again, we're not telling you to deny. Don't deny that you believe it's there. Just notice you believe it. You believe it's here. It's real, and that's a good step. Right? You can always ask your friend Jesus. Ask the Holy Spirit. Help me to see this correctly. Right? Nobody's going to take it away from you. Right? Nobody's going to scold you for, desires of any kind. Right? That's not productive. Right? And their purpose cannot be achieved. You cannot prove that the body is real. Right? Because it's not. Jesus says it's just not. So thus they're the means for nothing, for they have a goal without a meaning. And they share the lack of meaning which their purpose has. So, Jesus just boils everything down. Everything in this world has no meaning. It's meaningless. Right? Its purpose is to keep you mindless, to keep you unaware of the fact that you have a mind. And it's split, and we want to heal it. Okay. And sin shifts from pain to pleasure, paragraph 2, and again to pain. For either witness is the same and carries but one message. You are here within this body, and you can be hurt. You can have pleasure too, but only at the cost of pain. These witnesses are joined by many more. Each one seems different because it has a different name, and so it seems to answer to a different sound. Except for this, the witnesses of sin are all alike. Call pleasure pain, and it will hurt. Call pain pleasure, and the pain behind the pleasure will be felt no more. Sin's witnesses but shift from name to name, as one steps forward and another back. Yet which is foremost makes no difference. Sin's witnesses hear but the call of death. All right, so he says it doesn't matter. One day you're in pain, the next day you're not, and you're feeling good, you're feeling great, you're having some pleasurable things. All right, then here comes the pain again. And he says all through your life it just switches. Right? Hence the saying, into each life a little rain must fall, right? So you think it's normal, all right? And that's what keeps us in the whole ego thought system, is that it just gets passed on from seeming generation to generation, when it's actually all going on at once in the one mind. But that's a story for another day. So sin's witnesses but shift from name to name. One steps forward, another back. Yet which is foremost in the mind makes no difference. Doesn't matter which is the foremost in your mind. Are you having a pleasurable moment, or are you in pain? All right, they're both trying to call you to prove to you that you separated. That's the call of death. Sin's witnesses hear but the call of death. Okay? Paragraph 3. All right, now I'm looking at a little note I have in the margin here, just to clarify. It not always talking about just physical pain or the physical pleasure. The thoughts, the depression is painful. Sadness is painful. All right? Reverie is pleasurable. Okay? So it doesn't matter. Okay? Jealousy, lack, I don't have enough. It's painful. Right? So it all comes under the umbrella of pain and pleasure. And he says, look, they both have the same objective, and that's to tell you that here you are, you're separated, and you're real. Your body is real. Okay? So, paragraph 3. This body, purposeless within itself, holds all your memories and all your hopes. You use its eyes to see, its ears to hear, and you let it tell you what it is it feels. It does not know. It tells you but the names you gave it to use when you call forth the witnesses to its reality. You cannot choose among them which are real, for anyone you choose is like the rest, this name or that, but nothing more is what you choose. You just choose the name. You do not make a witness true because you called him by truth's name. truth is found in him if it is truth he represents. Otherwise, he lies. If you should call him the holy name of God himself. All right? If there's no truth in it, doesn't matter what you call it. It's not true. All right? It's only if there is truth in it, if it's truth it represents. All right? And he says, you don't make these witnesses true just because you believe in them. You said they're true. Oh yeah, oh my goodness, I can't believe you did tell you the pain I was in. All right? Or you start talking about what a pleasurable experience you had, and this and that. All right? Just because you say it's the truth and you've called on these witnesses to prove it, he says doesn't make it true. Unless the truth is found within it. All right. The truth is found in him if it is truth he represents. Otherwise, he lies. He's talking about the witnesses here. It doesn't matter what you call them, even if you call them by the holy name of God himself. That it's not true. These witnesses to that the body is real. And he says, no matter what you do, you can't make it. No matter how much you try to prove it, no matter how horrible your suffering looks to everyone and to yourself. All right? No matter how pleasurable. You might relate a story about pleasure or even think about it yourself. And he says no matter how enjoyable that was, he said it's only there to prove that you're separated, that you're a body. It's not real. All right. Once again, we're not trying to spoil anything for you. All right. Have your pleasurable moments. All right. I mean, really, have a weekend getaway if you need it. You know, everybody works hard here. You need to have a little pleasure on the weekend or whatever day of the week it is. Go for it. Just always in the back of your mind, say, oh, that was really nice. That was great. You know, and realizing that, you know, it's in the end, it's only there to make you think this is, to make the separation from God real. All right? It's actually a poor substitute for your relationship with your Creator. But, all right, I don't want to sound like an old Catholic nun. All right. If you want the pleasure, go for it. Nobody's saying don't. All right. There's no sin in it. All right. Well, I mean, you know, you can heap guilt upon yourself if what's pleasurable to you is hurtful to someone else. Then that's a different story. All right. Then, you know, hopefully you get some help. Okay, let's not go too far off on these tangents here. All right. Paragraph 4. God's witness sees no witnesses against the body. Neither does he hearken to the witnesses by other names that speak in other ways for its reality. He knows it is not real. For nothing could contain what you believe it holds within. Nor could it tell a part of God himself what it should feel and what its function is. Yet must he love whatever you hold dear. And for each witness to the body's death, he sends a witness to your life in him who knows no death. Each miracle he brings is witness to the body, is witness that the body is not real. Its pains and pleasures does he heal alike, for all sin's witnesses do his replace. All right, the holy instant, the joining with the memory of who you really are, the Holy Spirit. In that instant, pain and pleasure, the thought of it, it's all healed. He says, God's witness, which is, poetically speaking, the Holy Spirit, right? Jesus, who's the personification of the Holy Spirit. It's the memory of who you really are. That's the witness, and he sees no witnesses against the body, so he doesn't pay attention to that. He says, that's not real. Neither does he hearken to the witnesses by other names that speak in other ways for its reality. All right? He says he doesn't, anything that tries to prove that separation is real, all right, he doesn't buy it. Let's put it that way. All right? He sees it, but he don't buy it. All right? And the reason why he sees it, all right, well, let's work up to that. Right. He knows that it's not real, for nothing could contain what you believe it holds within. Right. Nor could it tell a part of God himself what it should feel and what its function is. All right. So he knows these things are not real because they put a limit on who you really are. He says you can't limit that. You can't tell God what it is he is and what he feels, right? And what his function is. And then here's the cool sentence 6 in paragraph 4. Yet he must love whatever you hold dear. All right? He understands why we like pleasure. He understands when we feel we're in pain. Right? He understands that. Right? So he loves what you hold dear. And he knows that we hold dear this thought of separation. Right? He's not condemning us for it. He's just waiting for us to ask for help. Help me to see these things correctly. That's all. All right? For each witness to the body's death, he sends a witness to your life. He sends a witness to your life in him who knows no death. He sends witnesses to the awareness of your reality. And it comes in a way that you will understand. It comes in ways that fit your situation. So for each witness to the body's death, right, he sends a witness to your life in him who knows no death. Right? These are the miracles. These are the changes in perception that we ask for. I'm willing to see my body correctly. That's all. Nothing's going to get taken away from you, believe me. Each miracle he brings is a witness that the body is not real. Right? And it's not a yanking away of anything that you hold dear. All of a sudden you get awarenesses that make it positively painless to walk away, little by little, walk away from that grip that you have on the body, that the body is real. Because he knows no death. Each miracle he brings is a witness that the body is not real. Its pains and its pleasure does he heal alike. All right? He heals them the same way. by allowing truth to come up in your awareness. The truth that you are not a body. All right? And into your life it will creep. All right? If you just are willing. All right? If you welcome that idea, it will come to you. Its pains and its pleasure does he heal alike, for all sin's witnesses to his replace. The truth of who you are replaces all the witnesses to what you thought you were. All right? You thought you were separate. You thought you were a body. You thought you were this, that, and the other thing. All right? When the truth arises, it replaces all those mistaken witnesses, those perjurers. Paragraph 5. The miracle makes no distinctions in the names by which sin's witnesses are called. It merely proves that what they represent has no effects. And this it proves because its own effects have come to take their place. It matters not the name by which you call your suffering. It is no longer there. The one who brings the miracle perceives them all as one, and called by name of fear. As fear is witness unto death, so is the miracle the witness unto life. It is a witness no one can deny, for it is the effects of life it brings. The dying live, the dead arise, and pain has vanished. Yet a miracle speaks not but for itself, but what it represents. Okay. So once again, we go right back to the beginning of what Dr. Wapnick would call our symphony here. And we get those opening notes that there is no order of difficulty in miracles. Right? So the miracle doesn't make a distinction in the name of what the witnesses to separation are called. Doesn't matter, they're all the same. Right? There's one problem, one solution. Right? So he doesn't care what you call it, he just knows that he's just there to prove that what it represents has no effects. So it always represents the idea of separation. So Holy Spirit is there to repair that. To remind you that you're not separated. You're not separated from the oneness. You're not separated from your Creator. You're not separated from that vast expanse of existence, which is what you truly are. You're part of that expanse. You are that expanse. Okay. So the miracle merely proves that what they represent has no effects. Separation never happened. And that it proves, and this it proves because its own effects have come to take their place. Right? So the effects of the miracle, that holy instant. Right? Now I can hear people saying that I ask all the time, and I'm still in pain, I'm still depressed, I'm still this, that. It's like, it's okay. Just keep on applying the process. Help me to see correctly. Because we're not in touch with the fear of letting go of all this. Right? Who would I be without my grievances? Who would I be without my malady? whatever it is. And will I disappear? Will I be nothing? All these fears come into play. Right? And am I afraid at how powerful my mind is? Right? So that's why we seem to fluctuate. And I go and I ask for help. Help me to be peaceful in the midst of this pain. Right? In that moment, you have attained the peace. But we scurry back to the ego thought system. Right? And when we do that, we need another application. All right? It's like taking medicine. That's the way I see it. All right? Oh, I strayed back into the ego. I need my medicine. My medicine is help me to see this correctly. I'm willing to be aware of the corrected thought. All right. And once again, if you're experiencing pain, take care of the pain. Nobody's saying don't do that. All right. What Jesus is trying to help you be with is to help you be peaceful in the midst of that until you can fully realize that it's just a distraction. It's not who you truly are. Right? And sometimes, and it seems like we work on it for years, right? Because that's the way it seems to us. Right? But Jesus guarantees that this works. Okay? When you want to see correctly the miracle, you're willing that your perception, that your mistaken perception be changed, be corrected. That's the practice. Those are the steps up the ladder. And he says, remember, the miracle doesn't care what you call it. All right? It's all trying to prove you're separated, and the miracle is trying to correct that thought. Doesn't matter the name by which you call your suffering, right? There's one problem, and there's one solution. Right? You think you separated. The solution is to remember that you never separated, the atonement, right? And in my experience, that awareness comes to me in increments, sometimes little increments. But nonetheless, they're there, right? And you become aware of that feeling of safety and bliss, right? And the moment will come when that is the only thing you're aware of. But in the meantime, we notice when we've drifted back into the belief that we separated. Right? And then once we notice, if we want to get back, we ask, help me. Help me to see correctly. All right. Like he said, one problem, one solution. And he says here, the one who brings the miracle perceives them all as one. So, one problem, one solution. And they're all called by the name of fear. Right? The detour into fear. As fear is a witness unto death, so is the miracle the witness unto life. All right, so we just correct it. It is a witness no one can deny, for it is the effects of life. It is the effects of life it brings. It brings the effects of your communication with your Creator. your involvement in the oneness. Those are the effects it brings. All right, and so the dying live, and we're all part of the dying here. And the dead arise. All right. So, metaphor. And pain has vanished. Yet a miracle speaks not but for itself, but what it represents. All right? The miracle is just a representative of your true nature, of your true existence. Alrighty, paragraph 6. He says, love too has symbols in a world of sin. The miracle forgives because it stands for what is past forgiveness and is true. How foolish and insane it is to think a miracle is bound by laws that it came solely to undo. The laws of sin have different witnesses with different strengths, and they attest to different sufferings. Yet the one who sends forth miracles to bless the world, a tiny stab of pain, a little worldly pleasure, and the throes of death itself are but a single sound, a call for healing, and a plaintive cry for help within a world of misery. It is their sameness that the miracle attests. It is their sameness that it proves. The laws that call them different are dissolved and shown as powerless. The purpose of a miracle is to accomplish this, and God himself has guaranteed the strength of miracles for what they witness to. Okay. So he says love has symbols in the world also. And the miracle is there to help us see them. That corrected perception, that's what it's there for. Because it stands for what is past forgiveness and all the way to the truth. Right? It's that holy instant. How foolish and insane it is to think a miracle is bound by laws that it came solely to undo. Right, so that awareness, that change of perception is not bound by any physical laws that we have here. He says the laws of sin have different witnesses and different strengths. All right, and they attest to different suffering. Yet to the one who sends forth miracles to bless the world, right? The image of Jesus, the thought of the Holy Spirit, the one who sends forth miracles to bless the world. A tiny stab of pain, a little worldly pleasure, and the throes of death are but a single sound. They're all the same thing. A call for healing and a cry for help. Help me to see correctly. And a plaintive cry for help within a world of misery. It's their sameness that the miracle bears witness to. Right? Once we get into that holy instant, help me to see correctly. Right? You would become more and more aware of how it's all the same. It's all the same. It is their sameness that it proves. Sentence 9 in paragraph 6. The laws that call them different are dissolved. So the whole idea of separation is dissolved in that holy instant. And you never lose the effects of the holy instant. Sometimes it feels like I pray and I asked, I went to the holy instant and nothing happens. something happens, believe me. That's, once again, the reference to Leonard Cohen's crack in everything. When I come to the Holy Spirit with that sincerity to see things correctly, there is the crack in the ego thought system. There's the crack in the belief that the body is real and there's pain and pleasure. Right? There's that little crack, and the light gets in. Right? And the light does not go away. Right? The more we practice going to that holy instant, we go into our mind to perceive the truth, that light grows and grows until the moment comes when you are aware of only that. And that's when it's obvious that love has symbols in the world also. Because everything in the world will start reflecting that light of love. You will see things quite differently because you want it to. And I truly believe in our human condition, it's a process. Right? Some people hit the jackpot immediately. Some of us have to keep coming back, as they say. So, and the purpose of the miracle is to accomplish this. Accomplish what? To dissolve all the beliefs in separation, no matter what they're called. They're called by so many different names. The miracle comes to dissolve it all. And God himself has guaranteed the strength of miracles for what they witness to. God himself has guaranteed the strength of miracles because they witness to the truth of who you really are. Okay. Paragraph 7. Be you then witness to the miracle and not the laws of sin. There is no need to suffer anymore, but there is need that you be healed, because the suffering and sorrow of the world have made it deaf to its salvation and deliverance. Right? So he says, so you be the witness to the miracle that changes all this perception. The preceding section was the healing example. And now this brings up what I don't think I mentioned last week, but I was always thinking about it as I was reading it. It's that you be the example, all right? You show them that you are the light. You believe in that, all right? My father always would tell me, from a very young age. I had a lot of brothers and sisters, all right? And I have a sister who's older. I probably mentioned that. All right, what we call Irish twins. She's only 10 months older than me. So I was the oldest male. All right, and my father would put it on me all the time. You have to set the example. You have to set the example for your brothers and sisters. And as I grew, and aged, and he would give me the same message in different ways. You can only lead by example. You can only, if you were the manager or whatever, it's your example, right? He said, it's not, do as I say, not what I do. He says, you have to set the example. And he will always tell me that. So I keep hearing that, but not given as a directive by Jesus. This is not an imperative, just as Jesus is just suggesting you will feel much better if this is what you do. All right? You will feel much better if you become a witness to that change in perception. If you become a witness to that awareness of the oneness, right? The awareness that there is no separation. If you become a witness to the innocence, there's no guilt, right? You will feel much better, and so will everyone else. All right? Be you then a witness to the miracle, and not the laws of sin, all right? Not the laws of separation. He says there's no need to suffer anymore. There is a need that you be healed, because the suffering and sorrow of the world have made it deaf to its salvation and deliverance. Right? There is a need that you be healed, right? So that you can give the message. And nobody says you got to be a preacher. Right? You don't have to, just by the way you live. By the way you live, you will see people will be drawn to you, and they'll be even curious. Right? How come you're so calm, or whatever? Right? I'm not going to tell you what the results are going to be for you, but you'll see. You know, as Ken used to joke, he says, you'll feel better, and he says probably most of the people you spend most of the time with will feel a little bit better too. Because you're not being a silly curmudgeon, all right? At the very least. So you become a witness to the innocence. You become a witness to the truth, okay? And there's no need to suffer anymore. He says, but there is a need that you be healed, because the world is, it's like the world, you gotta shake them, wake them up. All right? Like St. John was purported to say, the voice crying in the wilderness. You don't have to be so dramatic. It's just by your example. You help people to wake up, all right? Because the suffering is distracting. It's keeping people mindless. The suffering and the sorrow of the world have made it deaf. It's mindless. They can't hear the message of the Holy Spirit, which says you never left. You never left the Creator who loves you. You have never sinned. You are always innocent. That's the message. You're always innocent. There is nothing to fear. There is no reprisal. There is no conflict. Right? And your healing will bring that to the world. And you don't worry about how it gets done. Oh, wow, how am I going to do that? Don't worry about that. As my brother Stephen would say, don't worry about it. The mind is where it's at. The minds are connected. Because the suffering and the sorrow of the world would have made it deaf to its salvation and its deliverance. The deliverance from the ego thought system. The deliverance from that belief that I'm separated from God. That's why he says in paragraph 8, the resurrection of the world awaits your healing and your happiness, that you may demonstrate the healing of the world. The holy instant will replace all sin if you but carry its effects with you. And no one will elect to suffer more. What better function could you serve than this? Be healed, that you may heal, and suffer not the laws of sin to be applied to you. And truth will be revealed to you who chose to let love's symbols take the place of sin. All right. save yourself. Allow yourself to be healed. Help me. I'm willing to see things correctly. Same thing as saying, I'm willing to be healed. And he says, so when that happens, the resurrection of the world is at hand. All right? It awaits your healing and your happiness, because you will be happier. Even if we experience it incrementally, you will be happier and happier. And you will bring that with you. You will carry its effects with you. Right? That holy instant when you go to the right mind and join with the memory of who you really are. Join with your true self. He says you will carry the effects of that with you. Okay. He says, so what better function could you serve than this? He says. Come on now. Right? That's better than being the ice cream man. What better function could you serve than to bring the awareness of innocence to the world so that there's no more projection of guilt? All right. What better function could you serve than this? Be healed that you may heal, and not suffer the laws of sin to be applied to you. All right? So be healed, so that the laws, the effects of the belief in separation aren't applied to you. You realize you're not separated. And the truth will be revealed to you. All right? The truth of everything will be revealed to you. All right? This is no idle statement. You can bank on that. The truth will be revealed to you because you chose to let love symbols take the place of sin. Right? Just a poetic way of saying you chose to allow your perceptions to be corrected. The truth will be revealed to you, and you will love it. And you will bring it with you. Okay. I'm getting loud ideas. The thought of the prayer of St. Francis. Jesus is asking you, what better function could you have than to become an instrument of peace? You bring it with you. When you allow yourself to be healed, right? I want my perceptions corrected. Allow yourself to be healed. And that lets love's symbols take the place of sin. All righty then. It's been a pleasure. I look forward to our next session. Bye now.